What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
How's it going? I like the hat, by the way.
Thank you. Got a show out. Big game. Dion's coming to Eugene, so
Dion
see
just
what happens.
Barely skinned by last week. Barely skinned.
They have horrible pass defense. They have no run game. I think it's going to be high scoring. My prediction is 58-28 Oregon.
This is baseball, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the
huge.
sport.
It's going to be everyone's hitting dingers.
It's a big game.
Everyone's hitting dingers and 3-pointers at the same time.
3-point. I got to learn how to play that game.
It's a good one. It's fun. Interestingly, I'm torn with Dion because I like the underdog show. I actually like the disruption that he's doing and bringing that to there. Mm-hmm. But I've never liked his showboating and the fact that he's doing that with this college team and the college kids, and they have this throne. It just irritates me, and so I want them to be destroyed.
I want to knock him off the throne. The one thing I will say about Dion that I really like is I've watched a couple of his interviews and what he's doing with the kids off the field in terms of they have to be sitting in the first row of class. They have to dress nice to go to class.
Oh,
he's doing all these things to set them up. He said, he's like, I want these to be great men, husbands, fathers. Most of them aren't going to go to the NFL. I want these kids getting an education. I love seeing the vocalness of a coach because he's coaching more than just football at that point. And I'm like, that's a redeeming quality that I can
totally agree, man. I want, like I said, I love how he. There's a lot I like. It's the showboat, like just craziness that kind of goes down. Which hey, have fun, whatever it is. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I wish them well for the rest of the season outside of tomorrow when they get coached.
I want to be the one to knock them off. But
they can go far with just one loss, right?
I hope they go the rest of the way after that. Yeah. So exactly. Anyways, that's football talk. I guess one really quick one is I lost my first week of fantasy football last week too. So
I did too. Mine was a heartbreaker on Monday night.
Mine wasn't even a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it.
I'm riding pretty high in both my leagues right now, so I'm feeling good.
All right, so this is the week for us to show him up, I guess.
Exactly. Anywho,
we got a lot of other games to talk about, though, don't we?
That's true.
I guess we weren't.
We do.
It was
what do we got?
3 Fridays ago that we did this, right?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, a couple weeks ago on Monday. So
Monday, that's right.
Been a little bit.
Like a little more than 2.5 weeks. News has been piling up. I guess. Do we want to just dive into the Spider Tank stuff? I think Spider Tank saw a whole lot of action that and regardless of what, if you take a look at the economy right now, they have done some really kind of sweeping changes, and they did an update. Patch 1.4.0 came out 2 Wednesdays ago now. So a lot of really interesting things there as far as the way that tanks are rented. They made a whole lot of balancing decisions in regards to the way that just the strength, so the strength and speed of the bodies, the different types of damage that the weapons can do. So it's shifting the meta slightly, at least. But that's always something that makes the gameplay more interesting and can kind of keep people engaged. They also one of the big things that they introduced was this new free cam ability within the exhibition mode. So you can go in and watch an exhibition match, but you don't have to be stuck to the screen as a spectator behind one of the tanks. You can actually like zoom around the entire map and get whatever angles you'd like in order to be able to take snapshots or whatever. And piggybacking this, they decided to run a wallpaper contest with the free cam that if you It's going to be a vote, some sort of community vote, I guess. And right there, you can see it. We have the prizes that are available for the top 3 places, which is at this point, I love seeing that number in dollars. That it's like a flat. It's not a silk amount that you're getting. You're getting $200 worth of components. That's going to be significant. So, whoever's engaged in this, I wish them the best. That's a good prize. They could probably get some
silk, or if it is, you better sell it right away.
Well, it'll be in components, so I think they're really trying to drive.
Oh yeah, true.
People.
But still, that'll be a lot of components to get some upgrading done. So that could be very exciting for the winners there. They're also continuing to do things with the NFTguilds.io. They have they have an MVP contest. The people that can win the most MVP awards will be able to. That's for scrap metal, rather. There's different prizes within that. I love what they're doing there. The fact that they can deal with Rostakip is the one that set that up. At least that's his Discord name. He's done some incredible work there, not just with spider tanks, but that's been one of the featured ones because it's the only. Or it's one of the only live games within Gala.
Yeah, he does a lot of good work. I've talked with him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Through Discord. He's been on Faz's podcast. He's a smart dude. Does a lot of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. I understand he's developing his own game too. I'll let him leak that someday. But just a little hint there. If anyone's curious, you can ask him about it.
Well, let's see. Is it something that the collective could use?
I would say 100%. You might want to talk to him about that one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk with Cryptogram too. I don't know if you remember him from Galaverse 1, and he's been developing some kind of Vox battle stuff, like internal games. So he actually made one for Blackharp. Basically, he just kind of skinned it with a bunch of Blackharp logos and stuff like that a while back. And I don't know. I let him use some of my Voxes so he could develop some of the stuff. Nice guy, interesting guy. I'm hoping to talk with him soon about all that Vox stuff that he's doing to bring that to the collective as well. There'll be some cool internal games that we could probably do with that. So,
and just since we mentioned the Gala Collective, make sure everyone be sure to check out our Testing the Waters, which is open until the end of the month on myseedstarter.com. And then you'll kind of notice we got a new banner here down at the bottom. If you go to the Forge and Crypto website, there is a specified page for the Gala Collective that will give you some more information, or you can just go to the specified link at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, we're still doing some work on it. There's some more information that's going to be put in there soon, but there's a basis of where you can go to gather all the information you might need surrounding who's behind it, what our goal is, and what we're looking to do there.
Well, we have a Discord. We're going to be doing an AMA next week. So if you're in that Discord, if not, you can ping us. We'll give you a link. Maybe we'll throw a link in the description of this. Head to that Discord and ask your questions. Like, no questions too big or small. I'd like to get a ton of them out there, and let's get some information about it so we can just get the people informed.
100%.
Yeah, that was like an advertisement interruption.
Breaking news.
Word from our sponsor.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to see Spider Tanks, adding some stuff. They need to. Obviously, they need to get that. They got a good game, man. They just got to keep adding the different things that are going to keep people interested. If it's same thing over and over and you don't change it up, people get bored, man. And especially when Gala's, throwing a new game out every few months, these people are going to go and try that out and stop playing Spider Tanks. So keep them interested. So
I really like the contest for upgrade components. It just seems like something that they can do real easy. It doesn't really cost them anything, and you could argue about the effect that it has on the ecosystem. But since it's the distribution is constant, we're talking about victory points being affected, not the total amount of silk being generated. So really, all it does is it kind of shifts whose hands the silk goes into. Yep. So those contests I think could really help keep people interested in what's going on. So I'm pleased to see those.
Yeah.
Moving on, we go ahead.
No, I just said that's great. Move it on. Keep it going.
Yeah. Last Expedition had a pretty big update. They released a new build. This particular one is using version 5.1 of the Unreal Engine. They said the next one will use 5.3, which my understanding, everyone says that's just a beast. That's pretty amazing for especially like graphic quality. But this one's 5.1 still, no slouch in its own right. But they're using the early access tokens. I don't know if you've gotten one of those early access tokens. They give us a stack of 25 of them to everybody who bought one of the Last Expedition nodes. That was like a year ago now. Those are on the ETH blockchain. Those have been deprecated now. It's very important. Anyone listening in, please don't try to use those. They don't actually function right now. They also sent 25 Gala chain version access passes. Those can be distributed gas-free. Many of us are just finding ways to. Anyone interested here, go ahead and play the game. Just pass them around. They are for sale in the store. I believe they're $50.
Really?
But
I got some to be able to give away. If anybody wants them, hit me up. So
yeah, I still have some myself. But there's lots of people that are coming into it, seeing that game and enjoying it. Kind of stretching across the weeks here. Like that launch was 2 Wednesdays ago, and then just these past few days, Bitbender's been over in the Philippines at Philippines Blockchain Week, and they were featuring that game at the convention. A lot of people were able to play it, get in and enjoy it, and so some of those people may come looking for passes. It might be a really good way to get them interested and kind of established in the game.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like a fun game. I'm interested in all those extraction-based type of first-person shooters.
Yeah.
The PvE element on top of the PvP is pretty exciting. Being able to never know where it's going to come from, really.
Yeah, I know it's cool, and just watching the development of it, it looks like a good game, man. I've only dabbled in it a little bit, so I haven't played as much as I want.
Other big news from the previous week was the Ember team hosting Walking Dead Empire AMA. They showed us a lot of stuff in the game. They showed weapons, dungeons. They showed new user interface for building bases, and then they started getting into some of the walkers. There's apparently some walkers that you would recognize from the show, particularly Winslow, the stab-faced and bodied guy who is super, super scary looking. But he has an interesting charge attack that, from the looks of it, it also will, if there are other walkers in his way, he will damage them and they'll start bleeding out. So there might be a strategy there for kind of kiting him across the field.
Yeah. I like that game. I really like to see that actually go, live. I played that thing so much on the tests. So,
well, they have said that there's going to be another play test in November, so we're looking forward to that. And the last I saw, it was the early part of November, not the late. So we can expect that pretty soon. Another cool thing that they showed us there's a link to Gala button there, and it also has a Gala login, which means that they're setting this up in a way that it's not a part of the Gala launcher. That was something that's been a really big hiccup from the Spider Tanks onboarding, that you have to go through Gala in order to get there. They're circumventing that, and you will be able to obviously set up your Gala account then, but onboarding is going to come through a separate launcher that you'll be able to, however they decide to do that.
That's good. They need that for sure.
Yeah.
Something I just noticed that I don't know how I missed it, but I guess I didn't realize Ember Entertainment was developing the Walking Dead Empires, because they were the same ones that Gala acquired that were building Dragon Strike.
No, that's right. Well, that was the whole thing, because Ember Entertainment already had a Walking Dead game, or it was a zombie game. I can't remember if it was a Walking Dead or a zombie game. So
they had a mobile zombie game.
That's what it was, a mobile zombie
called Survival Z, I think is what it was called.
Survival Z. And honestly, it was very, very similar when you looked at it of gameplay and stuff. So,
but it was mobile and it worked, and I have it on my phone. Actually, it's not bad. So,
do you play it?
I played it on. I don't play games on my phone very often. The last time I really played a game on my phone is like if I'm on a flight or something and I'm just sitting there with nothing to do, you know, and I have something downloaded on my phone, I'll play it. But I've never really been a huge mobile gamer in that sense. Just not my. If I'm gonna spend the time doing it, I'm gonna play.
Isn't that your like wheelhouse? All you kids, you're just out there on your phones all the time, walking around like this.
See, I like to. There's a differentiation between my generation. There's the old generation Z and the young generation Z. I grew up not playing games on my phone outside using sticks as guns. And then there's the newer generation that's been raised on iPads, which is slightly different.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll let you pass on that one.
Yeah. So 90s. I just barely.
We just hit croissant.
Yeah. Nate loves it.
I got to throw it in every once in a while. Just guys. All right, what do we got next?
Well, we got one last thing about that. They announced that there's going to be a 3 currency system for Walking Dead. So there's going to be scrap, which is something that you can kind of harvest through the game. Okay. Gold is going to be their premium currency, like the essentially the gems version that you can buy through a store and then use to make purchases in game. And then they're apparently going with Deadcoin and not Gala. So we'll be interested to see how that pans out, how they like the tokenomic structure there.
I mean, I don't understand. This is so frustrating in the fact that why are we using another token in these in these games? Like, you need use cases for Gala. You literally need use cases for Gala. You can make a database token that can be transferred out into Gala or a Gala in the game itself to use it. Like, there's no reason not to. Like, I haven't heard a good argument for it yet.
I think the thing that kind of gets me about it is, well, you know, we've talked about this in the past, where kind of the accountability issue that's within Gala already, in that people aren't necessarily always going to follow through on what's said. And I've seen, you know, in the past so many times people saying, oh, you know, we're doing a 1 token ecosystem. It's all going to be Gala. We need to give utility to Gala. And then it seems as soon as there's another game development, there's another token again. And so I wish they would just pick a lane and stick with it and truly, I mean, I think you could make it work either way, but I think as long as you're kind of wishy-washy and not sure what side of the fence you want to be on, you're not ever going to make as much progress as you could make by picking a lane, sticking it through, and
yeah. Again, you want use cases for your token. You know, utilize it in every single game. The argument that I've heard against multi-token or multi-games using the same token is like, if that game dies, then it can kind of suck down, that the token usage. And I don't understand how that would actually happen, in the fact that all you're doing is taking away the amount of that token that goes into that game. Right.
I think the fear of that is when you have direct issuance rather than the victory point concept that they've come up with. I think that's actually a stroke of genius, the way that you have a set distribution. So you're never actually taxing the token. You're only redistributing it based on like fractionalized method. So it's, I like that structure well. And so that shouldn't allow for any kind of attack on the value of the token. But originally I was okay with the idea of third-party developers having their own token, because then they would have a means of actually making money through the Web3 side of this. But with Ember being brought into Gala, it doesn't make any sense to have Deadcoin to me. I'm sure they've got their reasons, but they haven't announced them at this point.
Yeah. Well, I know the reasons. I mean, they all have the reasons, and it's the one single reason is that you can, unfortunately, it's the hype around it that you can make money off of this one token. Like that's it. So they're gonna issue themselves a certain percentage, just like they do with Silk, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get a certain distribution off of whatever that daily issuance is. They're gonna take a cut from that, right? And so it's easier to do that with a fresh new token than it is with the Gala token. That's why. I mean, there's no other reason why. They literally just want to take their cut. It's a greedy way to go about it, unfortunately. So I really like this game. I'm going to play it. And I hope they change the idea of it being a dead token. Even though when we were at GV1, we had the dead token debacle with the one guy in there that was really upset that it had was it a dog on it or a dead guy? It was a guy.
Was it In Dog We Trust? And that was like
that's what it was. Yeah. In Dog.
The current American currency.
Yeah.
And God. But that's
yeah.
You can have a religious podcast someday. That'll be fun.
Well, unfortunately, it'd probably be the same as having like a podcast on taxes or things like that. You're gonna get some people that really love to talk about that, and then some other people are gonna be like, no, not this. What is it? You can't talk about politics and religion.
And that was back in my bartending days. That was in college. That was don't talk about religion or politics at the bar, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah. Well, the older I get, the more I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I just want to I just got to put this out there publicly, though. Jesse is way older than I am. Just so everyone knows. Way older. Like light years. But Graham, who's
when you were still a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, exactly. Got a few comments in here. You got Anthony Anderson was talking about that. You put that up there, and yeah, you'd peg the minting of the game token to Gala, which is fine. It would still, make it as Gala as being the token for it. I would say if they implemented via tokenomics, I sent them. Sorry, I guess I should read it since it's a podcast. I'd be okay with the dead token if they implement it via the tokenomics I sent them for Champions Arena or the most recent node proposal. Yeah. I do remember you talking about that as well. Again, when we're trying to make tokenomics too complicated with these extra tokens that are there, it's much easier just to use a token that you already have and give it utility. Fulfill promises that you have to everybody that's been around for a long time. Node owners, early adopters of your NFTs, the games, like. This has all been talked about beforehand. So every time you add a new token to the mix, it just screws over everybody else from the get-go. So
yeah.
Family Man was given the business by Brink this week, but they kissed and made up. And Family Man ultimately was shown to be correct. Like it was the Spider Tanks deal all over again.
I was not alone in that. There were a lot of us that had logic on our side. But
yeah. You want to touch on that just for a second?
Very briefly, because it was a really hot topic.
Just touch on what it was about, and then what the final say was.
Yeah. It takes us back to Spider Tanks. They wanted to run a promotion, and we got a couple newsworthy things here too. The Get Plucked game for Vox is supposed to be launched very soon. They're now cleared on the iOS for iPhones. They were already cleared for Android. They have to push another update, and then they should be able to actually launch. And as a crossover promotion, they wanted to give away tanks for Spider Tanks. And they landed on a common version of the Executioner Chicken tank, which had never been made before. When they sold those, it was a 48-hour sale for just rarities from uncommon all the way up to ancient. But there were some statements that were made that referenced the exclusivity of these chickens, that would be the only time you could ever get a chicken. It was supposed to commemorate the alpha playtest. And so we were hyped into getting a hold of these real fast because they would be gone and never come back. And then they were supposed to burn the rest of them. I don't think they've burned them yet. Them and the whale sharks, I think, are still sitting in an account somewhere waiting to be burned. But
I thought they did burn them. Maybe not. That was something else. Never mind.
I could be wrong on that.
No. They did. I was thinking of it. Ended up being the Miranda steeds. I think they actually burnt, but I don't think they've burnt the Spider Tank.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So with them wanting to print 20 new chicken tanks, there were a bunch of us that just felt that this was a really bad precedent and a breach of their word. So we made that stand, and it was a really long time back and forth in both the Spider Tanks discords and in the in Gala Gold primarily.
Yeah,
but
then Benefactor came in and was like, "No way, we're not going to be bringing that."
Yeah, he just kind of spit in the face of everybody that was on the Gala side and said, "All of your arguments don't matter. We're not doing this." And so for the community, it seemed like a real win. It didn't feel that good though, because it was just so long and dragged out. But
I want to point out that the reason I wanted you to talk about it is because I wanted to point out the fact that this is something that the collective can help both Gala and the community with, as being this voice and being able to say, hey, this is something that was said. This is what we've built, everything around. Like, it's not good to go back on this, right? Like, when you get a Discord and it becomes you get the mob mentality that comes through, it can be hard for Gala Games to really sift through it and see who the haters are and who the people that are just looking out for the community. And so if we have the collective there, is our whole goal is to make Gala successful and the community, able to ride along and be a part of that as they go. It can be the voice that can be of reason when this stuff kind of comes up, right? This came out and worked out well in the end. Like they didn't bring the chickens out, but it was definitely rough to watch, so I didn't like the way that Gala handled it, right? It was everybody's like, no, we're doing it. And then they needed Benefactor to come in and say no. So
the sad thing about it is that it was it became an us versus them thing, because when Jason came into it, he wasn't initially a part of the argument. I'm unfortunately the one that brought him into it, based on the fact that he was the one that made the original statements 2 years ago when the chickens came out. And I asked him to weigh in on that, and he felt like he had to side with his team. He felt like he had to side with the Gala employees on that, and it did end up creating a conflict rather than a discussion. So
look, as an employer, I would stick with my employees as well, and I would hope that he would do that. And it's a rough time, man. Like for Gala itself, like it's a rough time with all the crap that's going on. They're going to get defensive, right? But there's always a good way to go about it. So, but we've touched on it enough. We can move on from that. Thanks for being a part of the community.
Echoes of Empire. Let's go there, because there's lots of reasons to go there. They originally had an October 3rd release date set. And they were even warned against that, but they were like, we are going to set this date and we are going to stick to it. It seems like from their side, they have been prepared for that, but they were forced to push it back because of Gala chain integration. It seems like there's a lot of other things that are going on, and that's taking up the time for the people on the blockchain side in regards to actually getting things in place to work correctly once the game is launched. So in lieu of not being able to do that, they decided to do a couple things. First of all, they had an AMA just yesterday. It was a short one, but they did talk about some of the plans that they have. There may even be another play test before the launch, depending on how much time they're forced to put it back. We still don't have any news on when there's going to be the sale for the blueprints. But one of the things that they did mention yesterday, which is kind of exciting, when the land rush happens, they're not going to be just starting the game and then kind of forcing everybody to find their own claim all at once. They're going to set up a separate server that's kind of stripped bare. Mostly only the map, where you can go out, find your claim it. You don't have to do anything with your ship. You're not going to have to gather resources to get there in the first place. And they're going to do it in order of rarity. So it's going to start with your ancient, where the prism of creation is going to be the first thing that gets claimed, and then anything else as a player gets. Yeah, I do. I do have the camera on today. Anything else that you happen to have in your wallet, if you're free to have access to that land rush, you can claim all of your claims. You don't have to wait and turn for the uncommons to finally roll around. So people that have higher rarity claims are going to be able to get themselves set up pretty quickly. They did also run a couple. They've been doing the Discord games for a while, and they ran one yesterday that I was surprised that we blew through it as fast as we did. It was a totally clicky game. You know, it was nothing too active, but there was some excitement about it, and so we took to it, and we defeated the pirates in a pretty short order. I don't know.
Graham's asking about the leak?
What's that?
The ship leak. Did you see the ship leak yesterday?
The pirate
Graham's
ship.
asking about the ship leak.
Yeah. The pirate ship. They didn't even really discuss it, other than the fact that they're pirates. You know, I think they're trying to keep some of these things to be exciting surprises for when the game launches.
Which is good. I mean, you don't want to give away the farm.
Yeah, and the play tests have been pretty thorough. I mean, there's been a lot there. They since the first play test where they had that throne room set up where you had to go to the different clusters. That seemed to be a little bit awkward for people. That's the picture right there of the throne room. They altered that so it's just a 4-grid map where you can get to the other clusters very simply. But it doesn't have the core in it. And so there were some people asking about that, what's going to happen with that. And that's going to be something that it's a feature that they're going to add later, that it might have a different way to get to it rather than just standard travel across the grid. So they do have a lot of ideas that they're saving to implement for after release, notably the guild system. That stuff is all going to be later. So guilds are going to be run mostly through Discord, but any other social media platform where you can connect with your friends, that's where that's going to happen. And then they'll slowly implement things for guilds as it becomes priority.
Yeah, and that's the guild side is an interesting one for obviously on our end with only ancient, right? Is we've got a lot of guilds that want to have us be a part of that, and it's trying to create that operate under that sense. Like, are we going to create our own guild under the collective? That it's going to be the collective guild, or do we utilize the guilds themselves within the collective? Right? There's a lot of assets just that I know are going to be a part of Echoes of Empire, just from people that are going to be a part of this collective, just to start with. So it'll be fun to see how that plays out. And I've got a lot of good relationships with some guild owners around the Gala ecosystem, and seeing how that works out will be interesting for sure.
We have some slight news from Eternal Paradox, kind of piggybacking the whole thing with Echoes of Empire. They seem to be shunted a little bit further down the line in regards to when they're going to launch, looking like early November, maybe. We had some news from Legacy. Legacy, they're in the midst of QA, from my understanding. That they've gotten to work on the chain integration already. I wonder if they're promoting this simply because of the partnership with Peter Molyneux. Like, he's a big name. They might want to kind of show him a little bit more attention than some of these lesser known developers. Not that they're not good at what they do, but that his name is just, I don't know. He's pretty famous.
It's the name. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of people that are going to follow that. So I think a lot of your newer gamers have no clue who he is.
Fair.
But I mean, in Gala fashion, they love to bring the big name on to kind of showcase it. I actually, to be fair here, I haven't played Legacy. I was not a fan of Legacy when I saw it, but I know some people that are super stoked about it. I just never really got into it. Just in the playtest that they had.
I played one of the first playtests that they had for it, and that was obviously it's hard to base what the game's going to be like off that first playtest because it was pretty rough around the edges. And to me it really did. When I played Legacy, as I was playing it, I was like, I'd rather play Townstar if I was going to be playing this type of game. I would rather spend my time in Townstar because I liked it better. But
yeah, I mean, it's to each their own. It's I like the looks of it. The look and feel of it is good, but you just don't see hear a lot of news from it. So it's just kind of like in the backgrounds.
I have a feeling that the news will heat up as it gets closer to an actual launch. They'll probably start saying a lot more about it.
Yeah.
We did mention the Get Plucked launch. We can kind of get that out of the way. That's the Frogger style or Crossy Road style game that Vox is doing in the meantime while they're still working on Voxverse in the background. Thoughts about it? I'm curious. Frogger's been around for a really long time. It was really popular for a really long time.
I'll play it. I mean, I played it. I played Frogger a long time ago. I played Crossy Roads. It's one of those games that you play, and it's competing against other people and people that like, oh, I can do better than you. You post your scores, so I can see it being a fun game to play here and there. It's not gonna be a mass, It's not going to bring the masses in for sure. It'll just be a fun one to have.
I mean, you could get the masses those really simple games like that, like Crossy Road or Flappy Bird or something like that. They really were simple games, but it's all about just like you said. I mean, it became a like when I remember being in middle school or early high school when Flappy Bird came out, and it was your Flappy Bird score was like your social status. Like it was like a quantified social status. Like if you didn't have over 100, like you weren't it. Like you just
Now we know what's wrong with that.
So, like that was one of those are kind of two examples of the few games that I really did play on like a mobile side of things, just because it was all the competition. And so, if they can get that right and, position it as something where it's like, you get bragging rights for the top score or something like that, and it gets naturally. But then again, I don't necessarily know what that.
It's like a meme, dude. It's
exactly.
It has to get a hold of the masses.
It was viral. Yeah. They went viral, and
it's like Oliver Anthony's song that just went viral, right? He literally posted it, and like 10 seconds later had 50 billion hits or some crazy thing.
Mm-hmm. So many views.
So many views. It's a good song though.
I could see that though. I could see that working. It's a mobile game. It's pretty much everybody in the world has it at their hands. They can get into it. They can play it. It's probably going to be pretty quick. I can't imagine sitting there running across the road for hours and hours on end like I would in Miranda's or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
It gives people an opportunity to just get in and get out of the game. If they deliver it well, I'm thinking about Angry Birds. You said Flappy Birds. I thought Angry Birds right away.
Oh yeah.
Angry Birds was just reskinning one of those like physics games.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe it will take off.
Yeah. No.
The other big game name right now, I guess, would be Champions Arena because it is live. We can reference. We got a paper coming out.
Yeah, right after this podcast, I'm going to release our article that we kind of put together based on the full launch of Champions Arena. I have it all ready to go, so it'll be posted right after this. I figured we could talk about it just a little bit if you want to.
Yeah, they officially went over 100,000 downloads. That was even a week ago now. That's on all the platforms: iOS, Android, and desktop. They've come to the end of season 2 already with the arena. They're in the they call it off season right now. So season 3 is about to start cooking, and they've made a few upgrades to it. The estate's got some building upgrades that allow for it's a little bit more content. I think what they're trying to do is slowly introduce things that stave off that wall that you hit before you can't do anything else without paying for gems. That's something that I think the success of the game is really going to depend on engagement that doesn't cost anything. Now, it doesn't have to reward you very well either, but just to be able to do something within the game.
100%.
We've been kind of bouncing back and forth on possible suggestions there, and once again, it does come back to the fact that if there's any kind of earning, and that doesn't even mean like crypto token earnings, it means like if there's anything that's going to help you advance your account, it can really throw things off balance. So they're going to be careful with it. But I do believe that they're going to do quite a few things in order to make it more engaging and compelling so that people can enjoy it for a longer period of time. Just
like every game, right? You got to keep adding.
Yeah, if you don't have new content, if you don't have a reason to play, like if you get to the point like I can't do anything, you're just going to put it down and then you're done.
Exactly. Or it's just the same thing over and over, and you're just going to get bored one way or the other. So
yeah. It's kind of a bummer in my mind, honestly, that we were looking at Superior seems like such a great game. It's just received like a whole lot of really good feedback from the people that are playing it. The devs are like all over it in regards to like making it better, addressing concerns, getting in and fixing bugs.
Yeah.
Constantly updating the game, and yet the Web3 side of it is completely in limbo right now. They've really shifted their focus to a version that they're calling Superior Vengeance, which is exclusively Web 2, and they're doing great updates for that too. I mean, there's lots of content still coming out for it. Most recently, they announced it's a challenge. There's a superhero monster called the Growth that if the community can beat him 100 times before, I think it's September 28th,
yep,
then they'll be able to unlock a new that's a backpack, the Spinal Tap backpack skin.
Oh yeah.
So but they're continuing to engage their community. They're having live stream with the developers playing. They're having a great time with it, but the Web3 side of it is kind of floundering.
Which again, the finger's going to be pointed in both directions, right? One team points to the other. Because
I don't know if we can. I think we have to agree which side is actually needing to step it up here. I hate to accuse, but it becomes more and more obvious when there's only one consistent like part of the equation over and over again with all these games. You have to assume that it's Gala.
They were supposed to be live back in May, right? Like for earnings, I think.
Thought so.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't recall them ever settling on an earnings strategy. Like
they never posted what it was going to be. They just said earnings were going to go live on, I think it was May 1st when they announced it. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Look, 3 months, 4 months in crypto is basically 110 years. That's why, again, Jesse is literally 1,000 years old. But I just want to point out that, I like this game.
Yeah, I do too.
This is like one of my favorite games that they have. Oh yeah, dude. It's like favorite. It's so good. It's so good. I've played this with my son a boatload. Yeah, I mean, this is when you could play with team, you get them together, have a great time, just dominating. It's my wheelhouse. And then secondary for me is going to be Echo, that 4X strategy type game. So
nice.
Yeah.
Look, I guess we can dive in about the ahead of the game updates. We're looking at some decent amount of time already under our belts here. There have been episodes 17 and 18 have come to pass since last time. In 17, Jason was over in Singapore for Token 2049. He actually had a problem on Thursday, so they had to push it to Friday. But he talked a lot about the Spider Tanks update with the new patch, the fact that Legacy and Townstar were kind of getting closer to their new integration updates, and then they also did an interview with Warren Marshall, who is Warren M in Discord, and it was an extensive interview where he got to talk about himself and where he came from in regards to his programming background and his experience. But he also talked. One of the things that jumped out there was the fact that he had taken Town Crush and completely redone it on the Godot engine, or Godot, or how, I don't even know how they say it. But he started over from scratch. It's Godot where I come from because I have a literary. That's no big deal. But he decided to completely restart, and he says he's loving it so much more in regards to the simplicity of it. He's found ways to get incredible savings with information. I think he said he can get 7 levels to only take up it's something like a few thousand bytes, not even kilobytes, just a few thousand bytes that he can store that in that small amount of space. So he's super excited about the way that it's progressing.
Nice.
And it looks like we have that to look forward to soon, I guess.
Soon.
Oh, I hate that's the worst word ever.
Sorry.
The worst.
It is pretty bad. That's a pretty bad word too. Let's just admit it.
Sorry, it's gonna stick with you for the rest of the day. You're just gonna hear it in the back.
Well, is there anything else big we want to try to touch on real quick? I know we're kind of coming up on that time mark.
Actually, yeah, the Legends Reborn. Legends Reborn is 6. They officially got through the legal proceedings to be able to have it, and then just in yesterday's ahead of the game, there was an interview that they released with Gofu and Undead Pixels, 2 of the original members of the team. They're starting development again. They said it's going to be a streamlined team this time. They don't have nearly as many people. I shouldn't say nearly. They don't have as many people, and so progress isn't going to be as fast. But they are dedicated to getting a play test out as soon as possible to be engaging the community, getting people in, getting feedback, and just giving us something to do to be able to enjoy it. That they are really excited about the game. They love the uniqueness of it in regards to CCGs. That for them because of the way that the game expresses itself. It feels like a board game, and yet it's a card game. So it's like a deck builder, and so they see it as a real niche opportunity here, where there's nothing else really out there like it, and they want to get it out to the public. So they're motivated, and again, like they recognize the need to be excited about it as well. So they want to get it in our hands as soon as possible.
Awesome.
That's great. That's really good news.
Yeah,
they did that. So awesome.
Well,
oh yeah, there is one more thing. You can no longer swap your town coin. That ended on September 18th. So those of you that have town coin, you have town coin. I actually saved some. I caught when the V1 Gala thing was going on. I decided to pick up like 2,000 town coin just to have it. So I will have that for posterity. It'll be sitting in my account.
Well, here's the interesting part is there was talk about Townstar, and it launching a new token with it.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
I remember that. Thankfully, that didn't go anywhere. But
no, but to even mention it and talk about it, I'm like
so cringy.
Like what? Like, I mean, they're already calling it a new name. I mean, there's a game called Townstar now.
Oh, are they gonna have common ground token? Is that
100%? They can't call it town token. Maybe that's why they're going to change the name so they can make a new token for it. That would be so cringe. It would just be ridiculous. Come on, guys. Come on, stop it.
It doesn't have to happen. Let's not assume the worst here, but be prepared for it, right?
Yeah. No, I'm glad they got Legends Reborn back because that's a game that a lot of people liked. I think showing that they can bring it on board and get the original developers to push forward with it is fantastic. It's really good for the community, good for Gala. I like it, and I don't know. I'm ready to play some games now. Which one am I going to play?
That's going to be a hard question to answer soon. It seems like a lot of them are coming.
Yeah.
Now we just need to get the people to play them.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, let's try to get this. Let's get this going weekly, so we don't have so much to talk about, so we can keep them a little shorter.
Yeah.
And I like people coming on. Thanks, Graham, for sending a lot of questions and talking to us here. That's fantastic. And Anthony, and yeah, that's great. Get the people talking. Get them asking. Let's keep it going next week.
All right, everybody.
Thanks a bunch, guys.
See you
Go
guys.
Ducks.
Go Ducks.